I am continuing in my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am continuing reading in a chronological order, according to event, not according to publication or volume, so I'm skipping around a bit as I move along. So, picking it up again in Helaman, Gadianton robbers have formed, they've fled in the wilderness, but now they are infiltrating the government. Lamanites have been converted to them for the most part, and we have this period of peace. Nephite, Lamanite, you can travel anywhere you want, there's trade, all that good stuff. Everybody is prospering. But the Gadianton robbers are insinuating themselves into the culture, and they have managed to murder. Now this is the second time the chief judge has been murdered, because Behoran II was murdered by Kishkumen. There was also an attempt on Helaman. This is the second time that the chief judge was murdered, and his son was murdered after him. So Caesarum is murdered, and then his son is appointed, and he is murdered all in the same year. This has caused great destabilizing of the government and the culture. That's where we left off with those two murders. We pick this up in chapter 6, starting in verse 20. And now it came to pass that when the Lamanites found that there were robbers among them, they were exceedingly sorrowful, and they did use every means in their power to destroy them off the face of the earth. But behold, Satan did stir up the hearts of the more part of the Nephites, insomuch that they did unite with those bands of robbers, and did enter into their covenants and their oaths that they would protect and preserve one another in whatsoever difficult circumstances they should be placed, that they should not suffer for their murders and their plunderings and their stealings. And it came to pass that they did have their signs, yea, their secret signs and their secret words, and this that they might distinguish a brother who had entered into the covenant, that whatsoever wickedness his brother should do, he should not be injured by his brother, nor by those who did belong to his band, who had taken this covenant. And thus they might murder and plunder and steal and commit whoredoms and all manner of wickedness, contrary to the laws of their country, and also the laws of their God. And whosoever of those who belong to their band should reveal unto the world of their wickedness and their abominations should be tried, not according to the laws of their country, but according to the laws of their wickedness, which had been given by Gadianton and Kishkumen. Now behold, it is these secret oaths and covenants which Alma commanded his son should not go forth unto the world, lest they should be a means of bringing down the people unto destruction. Now behold, those secret oaths and covenants did not come forth unto Gadianton from the records which were delivered unto Helaman, but behold, they were put into the heart of Gadianton by that same being who did entice our first parents to partake of the forbidden fruit. Yea, that same being who did plot with Cain, that if he would murder his brother Abel, it should not be known unto the world. And he did plot with Cain and his followers from that time forth. And also it is that same being who put it into the hearts of the people to build a tower sufficiently high that they might get to heaven. And it was that same being who led on the people who came from that tower into this land, who spread the works of darkness and abominations over all the face of the land until he dragged the people down to an entire destruction and to an everlasting hell. Yea, it is that same being who put it into the heart of Gadianton to still carry on the work of darkness and of secret murder. And he has brought it forth from the beginning of man, even down to this time. And behold, it is he who is the author of all sin. And behold, he doth carry on his works of darkness and secret murder, and doth hand down their plots and their oaths and their covenants and their plans of awful wickedness from generation to generation, according as he can get hold upon the hearts of the children of men. And now behold, he had got great hold upon the hearts of the Nephites, yea, insomuch that they had become exceedingly wicked. Yea, the more part of them had turned out of the way of righteousness, and did trample under their feet the commandments of God, and did turn unto their own ways, and did build up unto themselves idols of their gold and their silver. And it came to pass that all these iniquities did come unto them in the space of not many years, insomuch that a more part of it had come unto them in the 67th year of the reign of the judges over the people of Nephi. And they did grow in their iniquities, and in the 68th year also, to the great sorrow and lamentation of the righteous. And thus we see that the Nephites did begin to dwindle in unbelief, and grow in wickedness and abominations, while the Lamanites began to grow exceedingly in the knowledge of their God. Yea, they did begin to keep his statutes and commandments, and to walk in truth and uprightness before him. And thus we see that the Spirit of the Lord began to withdraw from the Nephites because of the wickedness and the hardness of their hearts. And thus we see that the Lord began to pour out his Spirit upon the Lamanites, because of their easiness and willingness to believe in his words. And it came to pass that the Lamanites did hunt the band of robbers of Gadianton, and they did preach the word of God among the more wicked part of them, insomuch that this band of robbers was utterly destroyed from among the Lamanites. And it came to pass, on the other hand, that the Nephites did build them up and support them, beginning at the more wicked part of them, until they had overspread all the land of the Nephites, and had seduced the more part of the righteous, until they had come down to believe in their works and partake of their spoils, and to join with them in their secret murders and combinations. And thus they did obtain the sole management of the government, insomuch that they did trample under their feet, and smite and rend, and turn their backs upon the poor and the meek, and the humble followers of God. And thus we see that they were in an awful state, and ripening for an everlasting destruction. And it came to pass that thus ended the 68th year of the reign of the judges over the people of Nephi. Secret combinations, secret plunderings and murderings. We read about these things, especially in the Book of Mormon. They do exist in other scriptures, but we really get the meat of the story here in the Book of Mormon. But many people don't want to see it in the modern day. They don't want to think about these conspiracies existing in our modern world, especially in the United States. But there is certainly a faction in the United States that this describes. They are trampling the laws. They are corrupting the laws. They are changing everything to support their wickedness. And that is happening today. Now note the difference between the Lamanites and the Nephites. The Gadianton robbers are in the more wicked part of both. They start in the more wicked part of the Nephites and the more wicked part of the Lamanites. The Nephites, however, they are able to get a hold in the government. They build them up. They support them. And many of the Nephites start to be seduced over to these secret combinations, start to join them. On the other hand, the Lamanites, what do? They not only fight against them, but they preach to them. They take the word. They preach the gospel among the most wicked parts of the Lamanites. And in this way, the robbers are completely destroyed. The Nephites, they support them until they have full control of the government. The Lamanites wipe them out. Now, some people have thought that because of the preaching here that they destroyed the robbers by converting them all, and they all just got baptized and stopped being robbers. That's not really the case. If you pay attention, what's really going on, some of them are getting converted, and those who are getting converted are informing on their others, because they're employing every means possible. They're not just converting all of them, they are converting those who will convert, and they are hunting down and killing those who will not. And what is one of the biggest parts of the law of Moses is that you bear witness to crime. If you know something that has happened, you tell the authorities. Now in the modern day we have a big problem with the not being a snitch. You don't want to inform on your friends. You don't want to be a rat, as they say. And to a certain extent you don't. You don't want to inform on somebody for the purpose of getting them in trouble. You don't want to go, it's like kids saying, I'm going to go tell mom. Why? Because I want you to get in trouble. But that's not what the law of Moses calls for. That's not what justice is. There's a difference between being a snitch and being what I call a conscientious informant. It's not that I want to get you in trouble. It's that I want to preserve law and order. I want to keep society unified and stable. And the only way to do that is to enforce the law. And the only way to enforce the law is for those who know the law is being broken to come forward and testify against the criminals. That's not being a snitch. That is not informing for the purpose of getting people in trouble, but for the purpose of defending your country. And if we had more people who acted like that today, I think we could get rid of a lot of the evil that we see in our countries in the modern world. But I'm going to leave that here. We'll pick this up in chapter 7 next, so I will see you there.